Welcome to BANTU Re-Education TV. Rightly dividing the word of truth.
Movie, Banner BANTU production.
Dayo dorere na ndorere kembo tata na nzambi ya mazulu mpungu tulendo so nini na nini somandla ngai morungu mwene nyaga. Yes, depending on where you are, I greet you. Nusiemi beto abumbote bana bayisolele molweni abantoana abangoni moriega shiana shiangai morungu mwene nyaga dumelang sawubona. Yes, I know it's been a time. It's been quite a while since I did one of these videos. Well, a lot has been happening. It's been a journey of learning, and as I always say, I like to decipher that of which is truth. And truth comes from what we call kyogo or maito, or what most would want to know as mat. Truth does not come from a book written by your colonizer. It has aspects of truth in it. So I've been wondering, why is it so difficult for my people to dissociate themselves from this doctrine, this dogma that has been programmed deep into their mindsets? Some of us come out, some of us are still stuck, some of us it's an ongoing process. So today I hope to break down with the recent lunar eclipse that we had. I found it prudent to teach. So this is a deep lesson. So if you're still drinking milk, then I suggest you don't watch this, because this is not for spiritual babies. This is not for KGV apologetics. This is not for those who still expecting white bearded man to drop from the sky, or this is not for those that still expect one man to save them in the name of a Messiah. This is for those who seek the true spirituality of our people, wisdom from the ancestors, wisdom from Ngai Morungu Mwene Nyaga, who down in the south is known as Sonini na Nini Somandla. In the central regions of Emboland, he's known as Tata na Nzambi, Mpungu Tulendo, Yamazulu. I'm not talking about mystery God in the sky. I'm talking about the creator of heaven and earth and all that we see, divine source. He's known by many titles, but he's only known by one aspect. He's the creator and the superseer of all. So let's get right into it. It's going to be a deep one, so I suggest that you pay attention, and if you're a spiritual baby, then this is not for you. The wisdom of the ancients flow within me to decipher the truth of Ndoire na Ndoire. I am that I am, following Ndoire, which is our culture. But today I'm going to use a very different approach, because if you have been watching my videos, I have done all the connections. So I'm going to break down a lot of things that confuse our people. So Dayo, I hope this helps liberate someone who is out there listening. And this one, I call it the wisdom of the ancients, or rather understanding Inanna. See, Christianity told you that you are born into sin, but I wish to strenuously object that none is born into sin. You are born into this skin or into this physical body. What religion has done is kill the culture or the culture of nature, the culture of Neteru. That given by the creator, the melanated ones, those who live in Tanateru, the land beyond the rivers of Kush, who some will call Alkebulan, some will call Embo. These are just titles. It's the concept that matters. Bantu, a Bantun from the pod of life. I have done the thematic connection. So if you haven't watched those videos, I suggest you go back so you're not floating. Now understand when they talk of gods, they're speaking of entities created or energies created. In that book, it tells you, don't you know you are like gods? Now I help you understand the connection. If you do further research, you'll hear of the spider deity, which is a spider energy, where they get the story of Spider-Man from. You know, for those who have been studying thematic science, the science of Kamiti, the science of those of Kham, the science of the melanated ones, you know. This is not for those who just keep flipping that book given to you by your colonizers, always learning but never coming into an understanding of truth. That book is an amalgamation of esoteric knowledge, which the authors of that book did not understand. They only tried to interpret to the best of their understanding. So before rain appears, the darkness must appear. In the same way, the light of the when the darkness comes, the light of the moon appears. Is it not written in that book? Make him mention to the nations, behold, publish against Jerusalem, that watchers come from a far country and give out their voice against the city of Judah. Yes, the watchmen are giving voices against those cities. The watchmen are giving their voices. They're making their voices known. Arangeri, Itungati, in my native tongue. They are making the truth known without fear or favor. So I'm not here to massage anybody's ego or massage anybody's understanding. I'm here to disseminate the truth. In the book of Jeremiah 44:16 to 17, as for the word that you have spoken to us in the name of the Somandla, in the name of the Mogai, we will not listen to you, but we will certainly do whatever has gone out of your own mouth, to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven. That's the book of Jeremiah telling you that there's a queen in heaven. But who is this queen in heaven? The moon, the feminine energy. That is the queen of heaven. We had a lunar eclipse. Those that were able to join the live that I had before, it was shut down, understand what I'm talking about. You've heard of Isis. Religion will tell you many things, but pay attention. Or who is known as Njati, I have taught about this. Oderi, Jadi, Kiaho, and Theta. The Egyptian name for Isis is Aset or Eset, and was one of the most important goddesses. Do not let your understanding of the English term goddess confuse you, because we're talking about energies, spirits. We are energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, save for what was created by the creator. That is why we don't die. We only cross over. Her name in Greek was the ancient Egyptian word for throne. So there's a queen in heaven. As there's a king in heaven, there's a queen in heaven, known by my people as Njati. Now pay attention to the 9th month. And 9 months, and after 9 months, a child is born. The moon deity is known as the sin god. You cling to that Bible, but yet you're told Moses went up to Sinai. I is the ancient word for mountain. So he went to the sin mountain. You don't have to take my word. Just do a little bit more research. Not just because somebody comes, does videos on YouTube, you think they know everything. Some of us actually have ancestral knowledge. Some of us are in communion with our ancestors. So we are able to connect 2 and 2. So this lesson today is about the sun and the moon. Because it's your culture, the cult of nature. We do not worship the sun, we do not worship the moon. We worship the one that created them, but you have to understand why he created them. Asa. That's why you hear of Ase, Ashe, Ase, Ashe. Some of you speak things that you do not understand. Or Osiris, Oderi. The first sun. Our ancestors refer to the first sun as Ashu, Ase, Osiris, Oderi. Osiris is actually the Greek term, but it's Oderi or Ashu, because you see, the Mundele is not able to pronounce the Bantu tongues. That's why even if you listen to a Mundele speaking, by Mundele I'm referring to Nyakero, those who brought you religion, the Caucasians, those from the Caucasus Mountains. Mine is not to cause division. Mine is to bring the truth. So if you're Caucasian and you're watching this, I do not hate you, but I do not condone what your ancestors did and robbed my people from. So Moses goes to Sinai, the Sin mountain. Just go Google it. Sin is the moon god. But hold on. What you know, you know. But let's break things down further. He removed his shoes and kissed the ground. That is something practiced in another religion. Then we speak of Set or Satan or the first darkness, who my people know as Theta. There is no physical place that is called hell. Hell exists within you. The sun and the moon, being brother and sister or husband and wife, that is Otheri and Jadi, Ausa and Aset. The darkness kills the light. You've heard of this fable. See, when our ancestors were passing down this information, they gave it orally. So for the young ones to learn, it had to be told as a story. But in every story, there's the esoteric teaching, the hidden knowledge that is not given to everybody. Because if it's given to everybody, man will be the ruin of man. Muntu will be the ruin of Muntu. We have 12 hours of the sun. And then you hear of Osiris going to the underworld and Set having killed Osiris. That is the sun setting. The sun and Set. These are symbolic. They're analogies. There's no deity holding a staff somewhere. These are energies created by the Most High for balance, the yin and yang if you prefer. And we'll get to that. So the sun set. Set comes in and that in comes the darkness. The moon begins as a crescent moon. The moon rules over the darkness. Yes, not the sun. The moon rules over the darkness, but the moon draws its energy from the sun, the masculine energy. The moon is the feminine energy. Why do we say the moon is the feminine energy? If the moon is so evil, then why is the female cycle controlled by the moon? The 28-day cycle. Why is it controlled by the moon? Come on, my people, you have to wake up. Just because you're given doctrine and dogma, you have to question yourself exactly what it is you're being taught. Moon appears from the west, and the sun dies in the west. Yet the sun is born in the east. The sun rises in the east. And that is where you get a king was born in the east. There's no physical Messiah. That is just the sun. That is why we say the children of Ngai are Oderi, Njavi, Kiaho, and Theta. By children, we mean these are creations, because he's Ngai Mombiwa de Naigoro. He created what is above and what is below. You have to understand the Bantu tongue to understand the allegory. You have to understand what is being told. Not just reading books written by the Mundele according to their understanding. You'll get lost, never to be found. The sun, according to Egyptian or Kamiti, the sun is killed and divided, and the set, the darkness, once the darkness enters, divides the sun into 14 pieces. Some will talk of 16, and I will explain why. The moon phases in order: the new moon, the waxing crescent, the first quarter, the waxing gibbous, the full moon, the waning gibbous, the last quarter, and the waning crescent. 14 and 14 comes to a total of 28. My queens, you understand why 28 is significant. Then they talk of an ecclesiastical moon, which is the 14th day of the ecclesiastic lunar month. That is if you follow the lunar calendar. And the lunar months are 30 to 29 days, which are intended to approximate. It's an approximation and an observation of the moon phases. You find that after 14 days, the moon is now 180 degrees, because, 360. You remember your science. Away from the sun, the earth and the moon forming a straight line. And that is when the moon is fully illuminated by the sun. And that is what you call the full moon or the new moon. That is why we have the celebration of the new moon. But they never understood why this cycle. The new moon, that is what we call Kigongona Atumia Nangai. Because for Kigongona, there's blood that is shed. So the female menstrual cycle is very important to nature. And that is why it was considered a period of uncleanliness. But not uncleanliness in that, because this is a time when a woman is in communion with the Creator. It is her time to go aside and go through the motions with her Creator. But because English words come and bring, yes, that is why you're not supposed to interfere. You're not supposed to interfere with that, because it is you interfering with something divine. My kings, I hope you understand. And it's the only time that the entire month when the earth's shadow could be close to the moon. The first gods, the first entities created were the sun and the moon. But they were not created to be worshipped. They were created as a channel for creation. Now then we have, I told you I'll explain about it being separated into 16 pieces. We have the new moon, the waxing crescent moon, the first quarter moon, the waxing gibbous moon, the full moon, the waning gibbous moon, the third quarter moon, and the waning crescent moon. That is why you hear of Set killing Osiris, the darkness killing the light and dividing his body into 16 parts and throwing them into the Nile. Again, understand, this is not the physical river Nile. Our ancestors referred to what they could see physically to explain what was unseen. That way you would have understanding. If I tell you this is a stick, you see that it is a stick, but for somebody that does not understand this is a stick, it's a staff. It also represents rulership. The stick itself is not the rulership, but it represents the rulership in the physical form. That is what makes me a king, a mudamaki. And in this case, the Nile refers to the great blackness of the cosmos, the ether, the darkness that was separated. And I refer you to the same book so that you may have understanding. Now the earth was formless, empty. Darkness covered the surface of the watery depths, the waters above and the waters below. It was all darkness. So everything came from the darkness. Creation came from the darkness. Creation came from melanin. As above, so is it below. All races came from the black races. And the spirit of the creator, who was, is, and is to come, was hovering over the surface of the water. So that means what? The spirit of the creator was in that darkness. The spirit of the Most High was intertwined with that melanin, or that ether, or that dark matter, or that black goo, whatever you choose to use it. Scientists and English has so many names for that. But you have to understand the concept. Once you understand the concept, then you can break away from the spell casting, the spelling, the English language, the Greco-Roman language that is meant to sway you off, because they did not understand this cosmology. They did not understand the cosmology or how they interrelate. That is why it took their scholars 30, 40 years to learn. But I'm giving you a crash course, as long as you are willing to learn. So this is where you find, and he separated the light from the darkness. This is the primordial waters being separated, the great river of creation, the masculine and feminine energy, if you prefer spirit, because some of you always want to argue in the tongue of your colonizer. English is not your language. So if you want to come argue with me in English, I'll just tell you, Dayo, Dayo, because I do not argue in the language of my colonizers. What I understand, what I do is I learn these concepts in my native tongue, in the tongue of my ancestors. And because I have had the privilege to learn English, I give you the interrelationship so that you may free your mind, melanated ones. So the waters above are separated from the waters below, or what is known as Nun and Nunet in ancient Kham. Now Net, which is also spelled as Nunet, is the female aspect, which is the name Nu with a female gender ending. The male aspect of Nan, ironically, those in that religion call themselves Nan. So they're interchanging, because they never understood. If you're going to keep yourself pure in service to the Most High, you become a nun. You're not ready for that one. That is your homework. So, Naunet and Nunet. So, you also hear of Njadi searching for the body parts that were cast. Forget about, let me tell you about Nimrod and all that. This book is meant to confuse you and take you away from the entire truth. Because this book It's just an amalgamation of our esoteric knowledge, which they didn't understand. So they turned it into fables, into stories. But these are things that happen in the cosmos. So Isis, I'm not talking about Ishtar. I'm talking about Njadi, the original story. None of these fascinations. These are creations of Ngai Murungu Mwenenyaga, Sonini na nini Somandla, Tatana Nzambe, Moari, Modimo, Nkulu, Omukutulwane, depending on where you are. I am grateful that I've been given wisdom and understanding to see. And I hope you do too. Stop listening to wild imaginations of scholars. Listen to the stories of your ancestors. Searching for the body parts, some say about breastfeeding, bringing together. That is the fusing of cosmic energy or spirits. The phases of the moon are the pieces which she searched for a proper burial. These are naturally occurring events that your ancestors saw. And when their children asked, they would tell them these stories over and over again until these stories were recorded. And then the white man comes and asks, what does this mean? What does this mean? Of course, he's going to be told what it means, but then he's going to take it literally because he has not been given that understanding. Then he's going to go write a book, add on his mythology and his understanding of that book, and then represent it to you, and you accept it there, and you start fighting people like me who are giving you the truth. But not all, a third of you will perish. Why? Because you refuse to disconnect entirely with the narrative of the white man. You so desperately want this white man's narrative to be your narrative. And you call your ancestors demons. You call the wisdom of your ancestors demons. Who do you think protects you? That is why that slavery, when Christianity is brought, you're disconnected from, when this religion is brought, you're disconnected from your ancestors, so you no longer have protection. And all you're doing is helping the white man worship his ancestors. Now it has gotten to a point that so many are trying to force Greco-Roman names and Yiddish names to sound African. Come to the continent. Just ask the people around. Yes, our names have meaning. And if you understand the nomenclature of the Kikuyu, names are given generation after generation after generation. So the name I have now is the name that's still the same name that my ancestors did, because it is everlasting life. You're a rebirth of your ancestors. You're a reincarnation of your ancestors. That way, until the cycle continues. So the story of the virgin birth is basically Tehuti, or the wisdom of the black Egyptian Tehuti, who was a spiritual and intellectual master, whom sages, listen to this, of all cultures and all ages declared to be the greatest master of them all. You know that is Sophia, wisdom, Ma'at, truth. What is within you, your Akashic records, that energy of knowing. Most call it truth. You know, I say, we want the truth, we want the truth. The truth through thought, these energies intermingle. But because of these ancient names and the disparity with the English names, you reject that understanding. And we are talking about the ancient sages of Meduneta. I have taught about that. The words of the divine. Medu is the tongue of the ancients. Meduneta, Rodiomi. Kirira, that of which has Ra, illumination. Kere, Ma, that of which has true. Kere Maat. Kere Maito. It has our truth. Kere Maito. Maito is also mother. that of which comes from the divine feminine. As above, so is it below. I created you in my image. The ancient one, that it was turned into a myth. The truth became mythology, and mythology became the truth. And the virgin birth from Christianity stems, and it's a misconstruction of the birth of the new son, or Heru. Of course, they had to give titles in explanation. This is the divine wisdom of the rebirth. And after 14 days, the moon becomes full, whereby you see a woman giving birth to a child. If you look at the moon, the full moon clearly, you will see it looks like a woman holding a child. Yes, when it's the full moon, go observe the full moon. Now, you don't even need to go into any books, just observe the full moon. They have cave paintings about it, but go observe it. And that is where you get the Black Madonna. That is where you get the story of the virgin birth. No man was born of a virgin to come and save you. These are cosmic events. And it's recorded in the hieroglyphs. It's not recorded in the KJV. Because ancient Egypt and the KJV, which one predates? Oh, the Bantu scrolls were manipulated. Stop trying to fit your history into that book. Use the esoteric knowledge they could not understand in that book, but that story is very far from the truth. It's just collections of bits and pieces of our truth. It's plagiarized because we, the blacks, gave the world what they call religion. But for us, it was not religion. It was culture, the culture of nature. We understood how we interacted with nature. And religion is what has killed this, the cult of Neteru. Nature, Neteru, Medoneta. It has removed us from the words of the Creator. And when they tell you, do not sin, do not sin. Listen to these words carefully. Do not sin. Do not see what is in you. As opposed to Wedema, Megiro, Dahu, Nakerumi. These are principles that are passed down. Megiro, those are, you can equate that to taboos. Taboos are meant there so that you live within the alignment of the laws of nature. Dahu is the uncleanliness you get from going against nature, like the bent energy, which has to be realigned. Kerumi is what is passed on from generation after generation, or what you call curses. That misalignment is the curse. So when you talk about healing generational curses, you're realigning what started as Megiro. I teach a lot of this on the community page. So I do not find the point of regurgitating the same. I don't want to sound like a broken record. And I told you my truth is not for everyone. I'm not after a following. I just teach to those who want the truth. And Christianity basically hinders you from seeing what is within. Sin. Do not see. Do not see what is within you. Expect somebody to come from the Christ-like mind, the Christ mind in you. Do not look at that. Expect somebody to come from the sky and drop and save you. Wake up, my people. This is esoteric knowledge. If you can't put 2 and 2 together, it's okay. You don't have to like me. But I know something you don't. Sin was represented as an old man, listen, with a flowing beard, a wise and unfathomable God, wearing a headdress of 4 horns surmounted by a crescent moon. Why? We are talking about the ancient records now, not these records, so-called records that you try so desperately to cling on. You know, because where is it written in the Bible? I'm showing you where it is written in the Bible. But I'm giving you the understanding of what is written in that book. Now, this one is going to knock off the knockoffs. Konsu, also spelled as cons. Listen to the way I pronounce this one. Cons or con. The S being silent. Con, con, cons. In ancient Egyptian religion, was the moon deity, who was generally depicted as a youth. A deity with astronomical association named Kenzu is also known from the pyramid text. That's about 2350 BCE, and is possibly the same as Konsu. But now, let me bring you closer to the Bantu tongue, because I've done the connections. Go watch the previous videos. Congo, Pond's God. Whatever you choose to do with that information is entirely up to you. 28 days, and then the cycle repeats. The menstruation of the women, the feminine energy. And that is why my people call it Kegogona Keatumia na Gai. Or Kuona Mweri. That's when you see the moon. Why do the ancestors call it seeing the moon? And that is why women in African religion do not shed blood with a knife, because they already shed that blood within their cycle. And for the male circumcision, Irua, this is the connection to the masculine. That is why it is customary for those of the Creator to go through circumcision. It's very symbolic. It's an energetic. It's a spirit thing, and there's only one spirit. Don't think the Most High created the world to be chaotic. No, we made the world chaotic by going against the natural order, the cult of Neteru, which is the rebirth, the return of the new sun. I go why the sun is important to the melanin people. Don't you know you are children of the people of the sun? You're not Hebrews. Yes, you're Kabiru. Yes, you're Kafiro, because your skin is black from Biru, from Nebiro, that of which is black. But you're not Hebrews, you're not Israelites. You're not fighting against the Creator. You're not going against the laws of nature. Because all men are born free. If you're putting men into slavery, then you're going against the law of nature. If you're trying to hinder the free will of men by instituting statutes which hinder that, then you're going against nature. You're Israel fighting against the Most High, the Creator. Psalm 74:16. Yours is the day, yours also is the night. Yours is the sun, yours also is the moon. You have prepared the light and the sun. The moon, the light from the moon and the sun. Get understanding. Now, and that is Genesis 37:9. Now he had still another dream and related it to his brothers and said, Lo, I have and had still another dream, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing down to me. Psalms 148:3. Praise him, sun and moon. Praise him, all stars of light. It's in that book. So don't tell me I'm teaching from that book, because I want you to dissociate your understanding from the concepts in that book and understand the esoteric knowledge that was stolen from you. The book was not stolen in the form that it is, that you just have to change a few words here and there. No, it's the hidden knowledge that was stolen. But when you steal something that is hidden, even if you present it as your own, it will still be hidden because you do not have the understanding. Are you getting this, my people? So after the moon appears on the 6th day, the sun and the moon fuse, or rather they have intercourse. As above, so is it below. The feminine and masculine, the divine birth. The sun and the moon appear together in the heavens. And with an interchange, the moon takes the position of the sun, and the sun rises and intertwines. As above, so is it below. It's what the Indians understand as the Kundalini spirit, or Jacob's ladder to your pineal gland. That interchange of the cerebral spinal fluid, that's the rebirth, the opening of the pineal gland, the opening of your third eye. And that's why it intertwines. But they stole this from you and then made you to hate it so that you could consume what they gave you. We're talking about the 7 chakras. I'm just using these names because they are what are common to you. The 7 houses, Muwaja, Ogai, being the number of the divine. The spinal cord is what they call Jacob's ladder. Go why the name was called pineal. Go back to that book. When he wrestled with the divine and he was touched at the base of the hip. When he went against the natural order. Because fighting with the divine is going against the natural order. He was touched at the base of the hip. And he rose, he saw angels rising and descending. He was able to access his Akashic records and he understood. And he said, truly, yes, this is of the Creator. Come on, my people. And you'll notice that this appearance, which happens monthly, is usually from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, 3 hours. We shall get to the number 3. And after 3 days of this, you get the half moon, whereby the crescent moon dies, birth and resurrection. The full moon also takes another 3 days. So 14 plus 14, you get the 28 days. New life is represented by the new month, 9. Then all the men of Yaoundé and Benjamin gathered themselves together into Jerusalem within 3 days. It was the 9th month of the 12th day of the month. I told you the 12 tribes, I did it. The cosmology, the 12 zodiac signs. Then all the men of the 12 houses gathered themselves into the new city, the rebirth. Nobody in the continent says I am from Benjamin, I'm from. No. It descended from 9 clans, 9 perfect clans, Mehirika Kendambo Yoru, where we have Wanjiro, Wanjiko, Washera. I have taught about this. A man cannot give birth to a woman, but a woman gives birth to a man. That is why our clans are named after the feminine energy. Maito, your mother is the truth. Your father gives you your blessing, but your mother gives you the truth. Maat, Maito, your mother tongue. Why don't we call it the father tongue? And it's the mother tongue. You tell me, my people. On the 20th day of the month, and all the people sat in the street of the house of Sonini Nanini, trembling because of this matter for the great rain. The house of Sonini Nanini, the cosmos. And why is 9 significant? I'll use that book. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and it shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month, at even from even and to even shall you create the Sabbath. Why? Why from evening? Because the moon cycle, it's the resurrection, the rebirth. I've already explained that. And you shall sow the 8th year and eat yet old fruit until the 9th year. Until our fruits come in, shall you eat of the old store. Until the rebirth happens. And you shall sow the 8th year and eat yet of all fruit until you can pause at this point. I'm not going to read all this, Panabeto. You can pause this video at this point. You can read all the scriptural references. I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pastor. I'm just showing you the importance of 9. Kenda Moyoru, the 9 clans to completion. Why we descend from that. And then the significance of 9 to the universe, and I'll show you. These are their stories told over and over again that people take them so literally. But I'm grateful to my ancestors. They've been teaching me this. Just because I don't come and do lives every time. If I do a live every time and I keep teaching, I'll just keep regurgitating the same thing and placate your ego and placate your lower animal self. But when I do come here to speak, I come here to decipher truth. So you can pause this, you can check why 9 is significant, because then it's going to explain the next part. Why is 9 significant? 6, the number of man, the number of the one that is descending, that is 666. The number of the one that is the spirit that goes down, and 9 is the new life. The cycle of life, as above, so is it below. So 3 plus 3 plus 3, makuku matatu, mahiga matatu, 3 being the house, is 9. 6, now this is where I mess up with the math they taught you. This is numerology. This is divine numerology. The knowledge of casting lots, or what my people call mbogo. And yeah, they told you do not go to those that cast lots. Yes, I cast lots. But then the same book tells you something different. Because you read one side that has been twisted and forget to read the truth. Probably the book of wisdom. So anyway, 6 plus 9 is above, so is it below, is 8. 8 is infinity. Because when you join the 6 and the 9, you have 0 above, you have 0. You have continuity above and you have continuity below, which is 8, which becomes infinity. That without end. And that is where they got the Ouroboros. Wotiri Oru Otoraga. The darkness does not persist. The darkness do not persist. The light has to come, because that is the cycle. It is the balance. You can go check the Ouroboros, the snake that eats itself, which is infinity, continuity, that without end. But because you've been taught to fear knowledge, you've been taught to fear understanding, you want it in bits. But I'm giving it to you, truth. This is divine knowledge of casting lots, Bobo, which is rest. Which rest in, sorry, this, I should correct this. This is Muano. Muano is what a seer uses to connect with the cosmology, to understand the energies around you. And that is sight, that is prophecy. Oravi, looking at the heavenly bodies. Korada, that's why the sun, in Jonah 1:7, the desperate sailors cast lots to see whose God was responsible for creating the storm. Which energy? Which force? Which life force? But there's only one force that draws water. Then the sailors say to each other, come, let us cast lots to find who is responsible for this. They cast lots, and the Lord fell on Jonah. Jonah was chosen by the Most High. He had understanding of this. Proverbs 16:33. The Lord is cast into the lap, but its very decision is from the Somandla. Which means mighty one. I do not use the term Lord. Proverbs 18:18. The cursed Lord puts an listen to this. The cursed Lord puts an end to strife and decides between the mighty ones. They have taught you to fear an entity called Lucifer, the light bringer. But the light removes the darkness. And your skin does not mean darkness. Understand that. Biro is not Nduma. Koirati Duma. Being Kabiru is not being of the darkness. Those are just English words meant to confuse you. So what is the moral of the story? Balance is achieved through understanding the cycles of the sun and the cycles of the moon. Understanding nature, the culture of nature, that is how you understand your creator. That is why our ancestors had these rituals to realign these energies. I do not teach the rituals on this platform, but they are still recorded in that book without much understanding. For those of you who really know the truth, they know. For those of you that come to the continent, you understand exactly. I'm not just offering lip service. These are things you're able to see. Even for those that contact me, these are things that you're able to see. You're able to see the difference. You're able to understand these things. So may guidance be given to you. May understanding be given to you. Rulership is in the hands of those that seek the truth. You have dominion over all that was created by the one that has dominion over you, and that is the creator. Ngai Morungu Mwenenyaga, the one who was, is, and is to come. I know him as Ngai Morungu Mwenenyaga because that I choose to use the tongue Rodiomiro Akwa and kirira. So I hope I will bring elders that will help you understand now when we can get to kirira, Wedema, Megiro, Rahu, Nakirumi, how to realign and balance this as much as you can. So if you want to contact me privately, my email is always in the description. If you do not understand this and you want to seek, contact me, but do not come out of curiosity. Come only if you want truth. I do not offer lip service. I'm not there to massage anybody's ego. I'm there for those who want the truth. Dayo, 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 dorere, wagekoyo. Dayo, dayo, dorere, because this message was for dorere and some of it for our wagekoyo. But yes, understand the divine nature you have. Understand the meduneta. Understand rodiomi. Stop trying to fit what does not belong to you to belong to you. I break down in these things in English because that is what you have been taught. And if I do not help you to see where exactly the illusion is, then I will be doing you a great disservice. And now I remind you, when the words are spoken by a prophet, I am free of the blood. Whatever you choose to do with that information is entirely up to you. Now I can rest as I have fulfilled what my ancestors, through divine understanding, wanted me to teach you. Dayo, dayo. Until next time, ingeta makubenjalo, dayo, dayo.